Hello my sweet friends and welcome to DIY with Nadia, where we absolutely love making wreath. My sidekick today is Mr. Simba, and in today's video we are doing a layered poof wreath. We are going to use two different rolls of 10-inch Deco mesh. One is going to be just for the base and another one where we're going to bring volume and just gorgeousness to this stunning wreath. So without further ado, Simba, did you want to say something? Did you want to wave hello? Say hi. Without further ado, let's get started. Let's go over the supplies for this wreath. I'm going to be using the black Deco mesh that is 10 inches by 10 yards as a base for this wreath. And then we are going to make little curls using this beautiful color, also 10 inches by 10 yards. The ribbon that I'm using, as you see, is a cow print, 2.5 inches in width and wired. You're also going to need pipe cleaners. The sign that I'm going to be using is this super adorable cow sign, and it is supposed to be 8 inches in diameter. It comes a little short at 7 3/4, but we will still make it the centerpiece of this wreath form. This wreath form is 14-inch metal wreath form from the Dollar Tree. To attach our sign, I'm going to use a Crop A Dile and some floral wire. And of course, Simba had to check it out. To get this wreath started, we're going to attach the pipe cleaners, and we're going to do the 18 pipe cleaner method. Since we have 6 sections in this wreath, we're going to break it down to 3 pipe cleaners per section, and that is how we're going to go about it. If you are new attaching pipe cleaners to your wreath, the best way to think about it is section at a time. So here we have a section on rows 1 and 2. In the middle, I'm going to put a pipe cleaner. 2 twists and fold it towards the center of the wreath. This time I'm attaching to row 3 and 4. 2 twists, the pipe cleaner is going to fold out. Same thing on this side. 2 twists and fold out. And just like that, we have our pipe cleaners attached. I'm going to continue doing this to all the sections. And here is what your wreath should look like when it's all done. You should have 6 pipe cleaners facing the inside on rows 1 and 2, and 12 on the outside on rows 3 and 4. And this Deco mesh is basically going to be the background of our wreath. First, I'm going to gather my Deco mesh about 2 inches from the edge, and I'm going to start by connecting it. Here's how we're going to attach this Deco mesh. The first thing we're going to do is make 10-inch loops and go all the way around 2 times. This is going to give us the fullness that we need. Then we're going to go from this pipe cleaner to this next one, and we're going to go nice and flat. And from here, you can do 10, or what I like to do is 9-inch loops, because since the space between the pipe cleaners is much narrower on the outside than on the inside, 9-inch loops are going to be just fine. So I'm going to do 9-inch loops going around once and then twice. This should pretty much use up your whole roll of Deco mesh. Before we get started on our poofs, I always like to grab a zip tie, and I'm going to tie this little tail to the second row about 1 inch away from my pipe cleaner. This is going to keep the tail in place and everything tucked in nicely. Cut that off. Now I'm going to start making my 10-inch loops on the inside row. I'm twisting my pipe cleaners only 1 time, because as I'm going to make my second round, I'm going to untwist these and put that next one in. Here's our last loop that first time around. And now I'm just going to continue doing the same thing. I'm going to make 10-inch loops. And this time I am going to twist my pipe cleaners twice to secure it. As I'm attaching the second layer of the poofs, I am poofing them out and putting them one next to the other because we do need to focus on filling this space in. I'm done going around twice on the inner row, and I made sure that all my deco mesh is nicely poofed out. Now I'm going to go from this pipe cleaner to the closest one on the outside. Doesn't matter if you're going to the left or the right. And I'm going to twist it in place. This part right here, you can leave it alone. I like to put a zip tie here. Let's cut this off. This kind of guarantees that when I'm making my loops on the inside, they're really not going to move anywhere. So now I'm going to go ahead and make 9-inch loops going around once and then once again. Making my last loop and attaching because we are going to go around for the second time. Going to poof out this little poof. Going to put this next one right beside it towards the outside. That way there's no tangling, nothing like that. It's going to be taken care of and I don't have to do it later. I am on my last loop. I already cut off the rest of the deco mesh. There wasn't a lot left. And I am attaching to the pipe cleaner that we kind of made the transition to. So basically where I started, that outside row, 2 tight twists. And then I'm going to send the tail between rows 3 and 4 to the back. Using another pipe cleaner, I'm going to put it on row 3 and attach the tail. Cut off the excess and then push the remaining deco mesh towards the back. That's it. Here is where we started, the beginning tail, then the transition in the middle, and here is the ending tail that we just attached. Now that our base is done, I'm going to add more deco mesh to build upon this base. We're going to use this gorgeous deco mesh to make curls, and we're going to cut it into 10-inch strips, cutting 36 pieces. So basically this is going to end up using up the entire roll. When cutting your little curls, be careful not to go above the 10 inches because this is 10 yards, which is 360 inches. Divide that by the 10 inches, gives us 36. We need 36 curls for this wreath. Therefore, I'm very carefully measuring it and cutting at 10 inches. Sometimes these rolls do come short, so I tend to go a little bit less than 10 inches, maybe 9.5, maybe 9 3/4, something like that. It doesn't have to be exact. We're just going to make little curls. My deco mesh is all cut up, and now it's time to make curls. All I'm doing is curling my deco mesh about 1 inch in width right here, and I'm going to use a little clip to hold it in place. Then I'm going to curl the next one. Now I'm going to crisscross these, gather in the center, and I'm going to start attaching to all 18 pipe cleaners. And you will see this black background start to disappear. We're going to have beautiful pop of this kind of peachy pink deco mesh here and there. If you are someone who loves using 10-inch deco mesh and don't like using the 21-inch deco mesh that's usually used for a poof method, this is a great way to do it. Now, you don't always have to do these little curls with this. I've done wreaths where I don't do this, but this is a way to kind of poof things up so that our sign kind of has something to sit on. And this is really going to make our wreath big and beautiful and poofy. At this point, I'm going to continue doing the same thing, just making my little curls and attaching them to all 18 pipe cleaners. I'm so in love with this contrast of this peachy pink and the black. Just wait till we add the ribbon. This is going to be stunning. All the curls are on. Look at how poofy and big this wreath is. Now we're starting to get filled in beautifully. Going to get to the ribbon, and we're we're going to start cutting it into 20-inch strips, just zigzagging until I get 18 pieces of this ribbon. Anywhere from 19 to 20 inches is just fine. And that should be your entire roll of this ribbon. I have my 18 pieces. Now I'm going to cut the ends and make little dovetails to separate the ribbon. My ribbon is all cut up, but this time I'm going to do something that's really strange. I'm going to attach the ribbon after I have completed the wreath. Let me just put that to the side. I'm going to bring in the sign. The sign that I'm going to be using does have 2 holes on top. We're going to use those, but for stability, I am going to add 1 more at the bottom. This is where my Crop A Dile comes in handy. I'm going to be using the smaller of the 2 holes. I have the hole right here. Now I'm going to use my floral wire and I'm going to cut 3 pieces at about 12 inches each. Feeding my floral wire through, twist it in the back. My sign is ready to get attached, and here's what I do to give my sign a little bit of stability, I guess, and that is we have our little curls. Out of each curl from that inside row, I'm going to grab one of the curl endings. So you should have 6 in the center. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now that I have my 6, this is going to be a nice cushion to attach my sign. We can move these later to make sure my sign stands out nicely, but at this time I'm going to flip and attach. I always like to attach my signs on this intersection on row 2. This is where you really need to make sure that your sign is central. I'm going to check to see how I like my sign. If you're sitting, make sure you get up and take a look one more time. Now that I know my sign is in a good place, I'm going to secure the wires from the sign. The next thing I'm going to do is make a hanging loop using a jute cord. This is the jute cord that came from the sign originally. You can attach it to row 2 or 3. This is quite a thick cord, so I'm going to make only 1 loop. Just make sure it's tall enough to hang nicely. Cut off the excess. The most important thing now is to pull the loop to the front. That way we can cover this area and we have a little hanging loop. I decided to cover the back of the wreath using a placemat. Grab 3 zip ties and attach this placemat in 3 places. You don't have to make it super tight. Cut off the tail and make sure that this little nub goes towards the back. The best part about covering the back this way is that you can definitely peek in and fix anything you want when you're all done. Let's flip this over, and as you can tell, you can't really see the color of my placemat. At this point, I'm finally ready to attach my ribbon and complete this wreath. With our ribbon, we're going to make 1 loop. So what we're going to do, instead of just folding it in half, we're going to flip one of the sides because we want to make sure both tails are facing the same way. The next thing I'm going to do is measure off 5 inches. And that is where I'm going to bring it together. And you do want those 5 inches because that is how long our little curls are. With this part, we're just going to floof this up, and we're kind of going to have a little loop with the little ribbon. So here I go. I'm going to just put it in. And at this time, my pipe cleaner has done its job. I'm going to twist it up about 1 inch, cut off the excess, and just fold that end in and behind the ribbon. And I'm going to start opening the ribbon up right away. This is why I wanted to do this part last, because you kind of want to play with the ribbon as you're putting it on. So let's do the next one. We're going to kind of fold it in half and flip one of the sides so that the tails are both facing the same way. Measure off 5 inches, bring it together, and attach to the next pipe cleaner. Now we're going to open up our little tails and make a poof with this little part. Off I go, doing the same thing, measuring off 5 inches, bringing this part in. and attaching. Seriously, friends, who else thought that this little cow wreath is going to be this adorable? I cannot get over how cute this is, and the colors work out so nicely. Now, the sign that I bought, I'm not able to find it on Temu at this time, but I'm going to attach some similar signs. There's so many on Temu, and they are absolutely adorable. I'm going to continue doing the exact same thing, making my one loop bows and attaching them to the remainder of the pipe cleaners. I actually really love making these. I just haven't done it in a very long time, but I think they work perfect with this type of wreath because of all the curls that we have going on. Oh, and the small little sign. It just works perfectly together. I don't know why, but this wreath is making me smile so much. It is so cute, so happy. The sign is beautiful. And by the way, an 8-inch sign, 14-inch wreath form, 2 rolls of Deco mesh, 1 roll of ribbon. And here is what we have. I am so in love with this sweet little wreath. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed it. And please don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you have a second. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing just in case you want to see more wreath tutorials. Thank you so much for being with us, and we will see you in our next video. Bye, guys. No, that's right.